Self-image determines who we become. The truth is, 99.9% of people use such a tiny fraction of what they're capable of giving.
My first hater, bro, like, I put out a reel yesterday and he sent me a private message and was like, get a job. And I was like, yes.
The misconceptions that we all as humans tend to have, and it's not always our fault.
Torpedo has the destination in mind when it's, it has its coordinates and it's based off of negative feedback. So if it goes off course, it redirects itself. And that's essentially if we already have our goal in mind, you visualize the goal, and then any kind of negative feedback that's, you're letting throughout your life redirects you to that goal. Be honest with yourself and assess whether or not the actions you're taking right now are putting you where you want to be or what you're visualizing.
You don't need to have anxiety after you make that decision. Live your life as if you're already successful. Once you go all in, just have faith and stick with it.
It's up to us to figure out where we want to go and what that looks like.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest purposes with this, is reaching people before it's too late.
I feel optimistic about the things that we're doing, and I feel positive about the future.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of Psycho-Cybernetics.
I'm Dave. This is Blake. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, we did a little bit more detailed research on the chapters. We kind of talked over the general ideas in the first podcast. Now we have some of the more strategic ways to handle some of these things in this podcast.
Yeah, sure thing, man. Where are we starting today?
Well, chapter 1. I had some Wi-Fi issues this week, so I have a lot of paper notes. Chapter 1, the self-image. That's really a lot of what we covered in the first podcast.
Yeah, we can skim back over it, though.
Yeah, it's self-image determines who we become.
Yeah, for sure.
But
yeah,
there's a lot of complications with that, a lot of misconceptions that we all as humans tend to have, and it's not always our fault. We get tropes in our minds to think certain ways.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
the things we pick up, just having life experiences, the lessons we learn along the way program us positively and negatively. So it's up to us to figure out where we want to go and what that looks like.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest purposes with this, is reaching people before it's too late.
Sure.
Before they become like I did when they realized too late that they could have done so many other things.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't too late for a lot of things, but a lot of my biggest dreams, it was too late for.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an in due time for each individual, Some people need it earlier, and some people, like myself, man. I mean, I'm 38, 39, and I'm still trying to figure shit out, man. And I probably forever will be.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the best things I heard today was it's not the plan you think, you have to make it work.
Right.
Whatever to decide, you have to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to have anxiety after you make that decision.
Right.
You make the decision, you do all your stressing and worrying, all the planning, all that phase. And then once you go all in, just have faith and stick with it.
Yeah, sure thing. And I mean, I put out a reel yesterday talking about figuring out what you want, what that looks like. And then what you do is you take the present moment awareness to implement the actions that you want to take. Be honest with yourself and assess whether or not the actions you're taking right now putting you where you want to be or what you're visualizing.
Big time. And when they asked the author what if he could summarize everything that this book is about, what that would be, is he said just taking a calm and accurate look at what reality is and who you are, because you're not superior to anyone, you're not inferior to anyone. You are you.
Right. Absolutely.
You're a person, and a lot of times it helps to step outside of your own shoes and take a look at what would you do if somebody similar to you was having the exact same struggles. What would you tell it?
Right. It's important for us to just share our life experiences, man. And I think that comes, and I've talked a lot about authenticity and being honest with yourself, and just sharing our life experiences, obviously, I think can help. And I mean, this is kind of why we're doing this more on a bigger scale, as we're wanting to influence as many people as possible. But just sharing our personal stories might reach one person, and that's important to me. And I know that that's important to you, you know, and we'll be talking about this later as far as like what our actual plans are and where we see ourselves going. And then I think we plan on doing some shorts with that too, or some whatever, but there will be more content to come with that. But yeah,
Definitely, because both of us know just how powerful of an impact just even making one change, whether it's stopping drinking or quitting smoking or going to the gym, just one change in one person's life changes so dramatically.
right.
And that's why we're all in on this. We know we're going to affect more than one person.
Yeah. And not only that, man, but like just making that one change, you never know where that's going to lead. Like just like going to the gym, man, like I met so many cool people. Like now I have boxing friends, you know, or like, you know, going to a yoga studio and meeting new people. And then like, you never know where that leads, you know. Now I have like friends that do inner work and healing, and it just kind of compounds when you start like focusing on the more positive aspects or the things that you feel are positive. It's that positive mind frame and outlook that really, you know, solidifies in your life.
That's what my therapist told me a while back, is that you're going to find those like-minded and driven, ambitious people doing the same things that you're doing in the same places that you go. You know, everybody in your daily life is going to have their different interests. They're going to go down different paths. But if you stick to it, you will eventually run into people that are like-minded and will join you.
Absolutely.
And collaborate and grow together. Another thing is there's a lot of skepticism towards this kind of stuff because they think this generation is all hooked on short form content and, you know, they're not inspired for this kind of thing, but it's a big world out there. There's a lot of young people who care about their futures.
Yeah.
And want to know from people like us, where did we go wrong? Right. What do we wish we would have done?
Yeah. But I mean, learning from other people's experience, man, like that's the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher, but someone else's experience, then the potential is that you won't have to go through the same thing.
Well, yeah, they say a fool learns from their own mistakes and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely been a fool in the past, man. But I do think as long as you learn a lesson, it's not foolish, you know. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, definition of insanity.
You know, we all have been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still there. Still there. Yeah, still there.
I mean, it never ends. At least we're learning from others now.
Yeah, for sure. Question is, like, where from after reading this chapter, like, do you have kind of an insight of like what you want to start? I know we've talked about with habits, but like as far as like the visualization part of where you see your self-image going, have you had any revelations after reading this?
Well, yeah, I'm ready to try it for sure. It's really convincing. I don't know the powerful effects of it. You know, they did the studies of people who practice things like darts or throwing a football and people who just visualize it and they get the exact same results. Right. That's pretty insane to me. But one big thing with all this podcasting and stuff, there's a lot of imposter syndrome. And it tells you to live your life as if you're already successful, sure, or as if it's a foregone conclusion that you're going to get there. That's really motivating to me because as self-aware as I am that what people say doesn't matter, it still gets to me.
Oh, sure. I was telling Dylan about this the other day. I had my first hater, bro. Like, I put out a reel yesterday and he like sent me a private message and was like, get a job. And I was like, yes. Like all I said was yes. And then he commented on my reel and he's like, get a job, bro. And I was like, thank you for your time. It's like, I've never experienced, I've had like people like talk shit. Hit my first hater. And I was like, that's motivating. Yeah, thanks, whoever you are. Appreciate your energy and your time. It's kind of funny. It made me think about like when we put out content, the one reel that we have is like 3 hours of watch time. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but like people are listening to us, 30 seconds at a time for 3 hours. That's a lot of energy devoted towards us, and like, it's inspiring me to like want to put out more content because I do feel like we have like cool things to say and like we want to share that with people. It really is a huge impact. If you have something to say, you use your voice and you create something. It feels better to me than consuming. Still dealing with the consuming part, but yeah, it's getting easier for sure.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, definitely. there's this concept of beneficial procrastination or productive procrastination, I guess they call it, is when you're watching all these reels and you can connect those dots and use them in your podcast. But, sometimes just unplugging and using your own thoughts and being focused on one book at a time can really do wonders for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I need to, like, when I do multiple books, it's like I put one down and then I forgot kind of what I read and then I had to reread. So yeah, I need to really just like do one or two at a time and power through them, figure out the concepts, share that with y'all, share that with you, and just kind of collab on some cool info. So
yeah, but we've definitely been gearing up. I mean, last podcast, we weren't totally prepared, but we did good with it. We encouraged discussions and published. We learned lessons and we go on. We don't beat ourselves up about it, of course. I just think 3 hours of watch time, there's two sides of that equation. One, we don't have a brand. We're just starting. Right. And two, that wasn't even our best work. No, it wasn't highly edited. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good, especially by social media standards, which is only the best of the best that rises to the top on social media. So we're still learning, we're still improving.
Yeah, it's just, you never know, man. You can put out one thing that like you think looks crappy and like, who knows? And then like it could inspire millions of people. So that's inspiring to me, is just like put out something that seems relevant in your life. And I mean, it's got to be relevant in at least one other person's life. So
yeah, we both have the right attitude about it.
yeah. I'm not welcoming the haters, but I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I got a lot of notes around here.
Yeah, let's hear what you got, man.
This one I really like. It says, do not tolerate for a minute the idea that you are prohibited from any achievement by the absence of inborn talent or ability. This is a lie of the grandest order and an excuse of the saddest kind.
Whoa, okay. You went in on us.
I feel like I could have written that myself. It's just, this at my core is just what I believe in.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you, man. I feel like we're, limitless creators in this, and we can create our own reality. So, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think when you get to the point of not letting fear dictate your actions, that's when you really start like putting in work and like not even really caring about the results, just like putting the energy into something you care about. The results take care of themselves.
Right. And it ties into this other thing they say is, for every Michael Jordan, you can point your finger to 10 other athletes who admittedly don't have superior athletic ability.
Mm.
And we talked about this last podcast, is why not you? If you work hard enough, you will get there.
Right. No, I mean, the tools are there for us. So, and I had that same thought the other day. It's like, if you want to learn like a new craft or a new skill, you can literally just take a class. I was on Hinge the other day and this girl said, I want somebody that knows Microsoft Excel. So I sent her a message back and I was like, I'll take the $24.99 course on Udemy and learn Excel for you. She hadn't messaged back yet. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, yes.
She'll get back. She'll get back. Yeah, man. Who wouldn't want that, right? I'm just doing life as a bit at this point.
It's very tough out there.
Yeah.
But let's see. The end of this chapter talks about doing an exercise of picking one thing to study for a month and just doing it and not worrying about the results. I have a lot to choose from. Yeah. I think content creation, video creation is at the top of the list. And we have an editor now that he showed us before the podcast that was really impressive. Yeah. That's really motivating. Yeah. If we can take that off of our plates and just focus on the content and providing value for people, I could get behind that. I could be consistent. And I'm sure my environment has changed recently. I've had some distractions, some things that were taking me away from focusing on what I need to focus on. I've gotten those things fixed.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I feel so relieved.
And steady forward, bro. Like that's, yeah, like eliminate the distractions and this, like, I mean, I know you said you want to focus on content creation as your subject, but is there like a specific like facet of content creation you want to focus on?
I think this is it. The self-improvement, reading books and because we're in a day and age where it's hard to slow down and read books.
Yeah.
And even if you do, there's a million of them.
Right.
And there's just so much value in them. And just one, forget the whole podcast we're doing, just one clip of it could change somebody's life.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and I mean, like, I'm hoping we talked about short form content and being addicted to whatever. If you're doing short form content and you're providing value, people are scrolling through short form content to find value, then I really don't see an issue with it. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's the problem that I have with short form content is the like stuff that doesn't really serve me. And unfortunately, as good as the algorithm is, it's mixed in there pretty heavy. So I have a strange algorithm of self-help stuff and like guns. Like, you know, like, what the heck, man? Video ban, like, get out of there, man. But yeah, I mean, they know how to keep you hooked. That's for sure.
Yeah. I do the not interested button a lot.
Yeah, I probably shoot it from that net more.
So there's a 3P framework, if you heard of that.
No.
It's from Think Media, Sean Cannell.
Yeah.
But it's 3Ps: passion, profit, and proficiency. And it's a Venn diagram. At the center of that is probably the things that you should focus on. You should probably take one out of the things. And for me, I'm super passionate about this because it's so close to home to me. I have so much pain in my heart. I just have holes in my heart from my experiences in life.
Yeah.
And I've been studying it for so long. I've been so obsessive about it. So I have the proficiency, and there's definitely profit. There's so many models of people doing the exact same thing. I got you. I got Dylan.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to roll. We got the editor.
Yeah.
No, it's just about focus. Focus is not putting your attention on all the other things that you could be doing. You could be doing them well, but if you want to really succeed, you got to lock in and obsess over one thing.
Yeah.
This is it for me. Reading all these books takes your mind to so many different horizons. It opens your mind in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting. That's part of the whole visualization process, man. That's like, you know, you read more and you go like, well, yeah, like, I can create my own reality. Let me think about what I want. I mean, like, that's part of my issue. I had an idea, but like, I actually need to sit down and figure out what exactly that looks like and be a little more specific. Because I see things, like when I go back and I read old journals, or I see things, especially recently, man, that like I'll think about, they'll just show up like quickly. And it's been happening a lot quicker, and like I've been noticing a lot more. And I was like, well, if I'm doing this, I might as well dream bigger, you know? I think about cooler stuff that I want to be more aligned with. And I mean, it's been happening, man. Like, been meeting some people that I'm used to hanging out with. And I mean, like, not bad or good, just different, you know, and like stuff that aligns with me, I think, a little bit more, which is great. And that's kind of what I've been wanting. So the whole point of that was we should dream bigger. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just really been suffering because one of my ex-girlfriends was the one who really had this aha moment for me. It was like, why I've been so miserable. It's just being good at everything and not having something that you can do for a living. It's just agonizing. And I tried so hard in so many different things, and I know what I'm capable of because I've studied this stuff, and I've studied Kobe Bryant and Atomic Habits and all these other things, and you are fully aware of what you can do, and the pieces don't fall into place for one reason or another. It's really heartbreaking.
Yeah. I've had the same situation, man. I mean, I've been pursuing like all sorts of different things for 20 years, and it has not come into the 3D reality yet exactly how I want it. But I think the main thing for me, or like keeping the forefront of my mind, is like overall I'm pretty happy, and I feel optimistic about the things that we're doing, and I feel positive about the future. And like I said, I've been seeing a lot more like optimism in my friend group, and that's huge. Like, I remember years ago, like there'd be so much pessimism around me, and it's like the complete opposite now. And I think that's because I changed my self-image and like how I feel about myself first, and that is reflected out. That's what's so cool is like, some people would look at me and say, he's not exactly where I want to be. Why should I listen to him? If you want to be happy and have like relatively cool things happen in your life, like that's happening to me right now.
Yeah, but it's not just what we have to say. Like we're bringing all this information on what all these successful people, I will say.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of being mediators between the information that we've already consumed and, and if people are interested in this type of subject, we're just kind of like put it out there for them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I feel good about where I am now. And like, hopefully if someone's out there, they don't feel good about where they are, maybe we can help. And I think that's the whole point of me doing this, is just kind of sharing my joy, I guess, is all.
Yeah. I touched on this last time, was that there's nothing worse you could say to get ridiculed than saying that you think you're capable of being a professional in something, right? Especially in sports. But I'm not afraid to say that I think I could have been a professional basketball player. Sure. Or definitely Fortnite player, or all these things. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid to say that. What really hurts and breaks my heart is that I didn't prove people wrong. But I go back and forth because I know that they've been proven wrong so many other times through so many other people's other stories. They're just not paying attention. Sure. So that's why I really shouldn't care. That's all ego. We all have one. Mm-hmm. I think I have a healthy one.
Yeah, I mean, ego is there for a purpose. I mean, it gives us direction, Yes, it's there to guide us. So it's like, should we be egoless? I think there's a time and place for everything.
That's just not being human.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to do it because I love competing. It's what I love and I'm passionate about. And I wanted to inspire people through my story that they can do the same thing. Sure. But I guess through this, I can still kind of do the same thing, just not to the same level. Like, nothing's more inspiring than seeing Kobe Bryant and everything he did.
Right. No, for sure.
Or Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
We can still have huge impacts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll cover most of chapter 1. Is there any other notes you have from that, or you want to move on?
Chapter 1 is pretty short notes wise. Chapter 2, discovering the success mechanism within you. And last podcast, we talked about what cybernetics is. I don't have that definition. Actually, I do. It's the science of communications and automatic control systems in both machines and living things. And so that's how the machines and computers, metaphorically speaking, in your brain interact with your psychology,
right?
As of being a human. And what this chapter is all about is how we as people develop either an automatic success mechanism or an automatic failure mechanism. And that's just all depending on your self-image. Who do you believe you are? Sure. Believe yourself to be an F student, someone who fails, someone who has ADHD and can't study. You're going to find ways to fail. You're going to make excuses. And that just provides further material proof that you can't do it. And that's why they call it an automatic failure mechanism, because it's that feedback, that just continuous cycle of failure.
Sure. Does the author tell us how we overcome that? Like, are there certain steps?
Oh yeah, they said a lot. That's one thing I want to say about this book. I actually think everybody should read it. There's an audiobook on YouTube. Everybody who listens to this is going to have different things that they take away. There's so many different examples in this book. I think everybody, it could change their life, but you gotta be able to focus, and you gotta be open-minded. Using your imagination is one.
Yeah.
It uses the example of Walt Disney World, of how everything there is cultivated through imagination. And that's why it said it had 100% retention rate of people being repeat customers. And that's mind-blowing.
Yeah, man.
Especially with how expensive it is.
Well, when you hear about like people that are super successful, I feel like they visualize things that are not normal people, but like others didn't. Like, I'm sure Walt Disney sat there and said, I want to have a company that has a 100% retention rate. Like who would have thought of that? Like, I wouldn't have thought of that, and it's like, and so it kind of makes me try to have more of a broad spectrum of like things that I want. And that's what I was talking about earlier, as far as like actually sitting down and figuring it out. It's like, what is something I actually like want manifested in my 3D reality? And it's like, I'll give you an example, kind of like some people could say like, oh yeah, I want abundance. It's like, what kind of abundance? You can have an abundance of failure if you want, but you have to be more specific. Like, I want financial abundance, or like an abundance of love, words. I mean, obviously intentionality is more important, but like words are important too. It's the energy you're putting out. So
Yeah, it's funny you say that about not being specific on your purpose. It also, the purpose, that's probably my next recommendation for our next podcast on purpose person. Yeah, I had a friend and I was asking him, what's your purpose? And he was saying, oh, I want to help be the person that wasn't there for me, for other people.
right,
It's like, yes, that's great. That's very noble, but how,
yeah,
what's the goal? What's the plan?
yeah,
Um, and a lot of people say the same thing. That's my goal, your goal. We want to be the person that we needed,
right,
but you got to pick a path for that. And our path is podcasting, but there's a million different other ways you could accomplish that.
yeah,
But I also wanted to say, everybody has those moments where people try to tear you down, tell you what you can't do. And I already said that quote earlier. That's so good. But, Jason Tatum, with his teacher laughed at him when he said he wanted to be in the NBA. Steve Harvey, his teacher, erased about the whiteboard and called his dad when he said he wanted to be on TV. And one of the things in here that I like so much is it says, Einstein was no Einstein either.
right,
He wasn't good at math.
yeah,
He hired mathematicians to help move along his projects. And so I just think people get put on a pedestal for when they have success, and they don't see all the struggles, all the pain and the deficiencies that make them humans like anybody else.
yeah. I mean, like, same thing with Henry Ford, man. It was like, he told his engineers, I want to be and they're like, it's impossible. And now we have, like 16-cylinder engines. It's like he just needed to give them direction and a purpose. He's like, do this. And then the people that were smarter than him figured it out,
Impossible is an opinion,
for sure. Absolutely.
The truth is, most people, 99.9% of people, use such a tiny fraction of what they're capable of giving, the effort they're capable of giving, at the time they're capable of spending dedicated towards a goal. Impossible in a lot of ways is totally possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So things like you can't jump 15 feet in the air, all that kind of stuff. Sure, fine.
Right.
There are things that people think are impossible, and they tell you it's impossible, and they elaborate you, tell you be more realistic.
Yeah.
And that's their opinion. But don't compromise that. Your dreams.
Sure. It's the gentleman that ran the 4-minute mile first, and everyone thought it was impossible, and then he did it, and then a bunch of other people did it. He refused to believe that, and then set a precedent for other people to do the same thing.
Well, the reason I'm so confident that I could do it, or I still could do something like that, is because I think the most important thing possible you can do is to expand your mind. And continue to expand your mind. And that's what I would tell people. It's not about just going and shooting a basketball a million times. And I've done that. I've definitely done that. And obviously that helps, that get iterations and get closer and closer to a perfect shot. You can't ever attain that, but you need to expand your mind. You need to learn from the people who are already successful, and you need to watch yourself and get feedback.
Right.
You need to be doing those types of things as opposed to just trying to barrel through practice, and you burn out too. You don't see those improvements. It goes back to the valley of disappointment and the plateau of latent potential.
Right.
So you got to put all those pieces together.
That's true.
So servo mechanisms, there's two different types of them. One is you have the target objective known and the goal is to reach it, and the other one is the target objective isn't known and the goal is to figure it out. Right. So I think everybody falls into one of those two categories right now.
He was telling the story about the torpedo. Like that's how a torpedo is navigated. Torpedo has the destination in mind when it's it has its coordinates, and it's based off of like negative feedback. So if it goes off course, it redirects itself. And that's essentially is like, if we already have our goal in mind, you visualize the goal And then any kind of negative feedback that's, you're letting throughout your life redirects you to that goal. This is a similar thing. I suppose the other one is to just kind of like, you don't know the goal yet. I guess just kind of like living your life and then just saying, where do I want to go from here? Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out and solidify my goals, man, and like I have a general idea, but I'm also kind of like leaving things open too, because you never know what's going to come along.
Well, I heard Clark Kegley say earlier in a YouTube video I was watching that to improve your life, the best thing to do is less. Take away things as opposed to trying to keep adding, and you get clarity. I just feel like we have clarity in what we're doing right now, and it checks all the boxes: passion, profit, proficiency.
Yeah.
We can get more for doing less.
I agree. Just get really good at this and improve upon it. Yep. Every day, just improve upon it. And eventually, when you feel comfortable, be more if you want.
Yeah. And if you get from me from this is that you can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, why not you?
Right.
Because so many different successful people, they say, I just ask myself, why not me?
Yeah.
And we'll get into some of those limiting beliefs later. It talks about how the automatic mechanisms, the negative feedback is good. That's a part of getting that success. Mm-hmm. And the success should be ignored. That's what should happen. So you just have a steady mentality, and all the failure is good. It's you have to view it that way. You have to be positive about that.
Right.
Or you'll just get derailed.
Yeah. No, the failures are the lessons learned, and the successes are the ones like we should reflect back on and say, this feels good. Let's do that again. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why it all seems so effortless for the people who are already there. And what was that quote from Michael Jordan? He just went through all the times he failed, all the shots he missed, the game-winning shots, and all the trouble he had, all the problems he had. He said, I failed. That's why I succeeded. And people just don't get that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's everyone finds it in their time,
Yeah. And, obviously I don't speak for everybody, sure, but I can generalize because I see it everywhere I go. Every city, on the internet, everywhere.
Yeah.
Every different group of friends I meet all kind of have the same mentality.
I guess like, I meet new people all the time, but like I started a new job. And so I recently have met like a really lovely group of individuals that I work with. And I mean, like a lot of them are into different like healing modalities and, yoga and meditation and Reiki and stuff like that. And like everyone has a really positive attitude. And like, that's one of the things that I like. I've been, expanding my sphere of influence to like-minded people, and I think like when you start to look for the like-minded people, they come along, or like, again, it's an inner reflection too, when you start to do the work, those people come along too. And, so I think I'm sure Michael Jordan surrounded himself with successful people too, I'm sure he refused to, he changed his environment, I'm sure, and in order to become successful. So I think that's important. I mean, we had already talked about environment from Atomic Habits, but like I think changing your environment, is definitely one of the most important things you can do too.
Yeah, it's just so much harder for our situation compared to Kobe and Michael Jordan because the people they're surrounded with are getting paid a lot to be where they're at. And so they're every bit justified to light fire under them. But for us, it's all based on faith and hope.
Yeah.
And, you and I fully see where this could go and where we believe it'll go. But not everybody is going to have a similar vision or similar passion. And we might go through several different people coming through and help us out at some stage and figuring out that that's not what they want to do long term. But we just gotta keep pushing.
And man, keep trucking forward, bro. That's all. So, anything else in chapter 2?
Talks about the visualization, 21-day challenge, evolving your mental model, what you want. First 10 days, it wants you to gradually increase how vividly you can picture it. You should be able to sense it. Like you're on a podcast, you can hear the crowd or
Right. Yeah.
all that kinds of stuff as you just see the vision all the way through. And then what's interesting is he wants the next 11 days, you just stick with what you got. You picture that same thing over and over again. That one that you came up with on the last day until it's just ingrained in your head. And it says, open your eyes to the continuing development and actualization of your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I did this visualization meditation one time a few years back. It's from a Mind Valley, and it's really cool. You get in a relaxed setting, and essentially, I mean, it builds up as you go along, but you kind of like close your eyes and then like you envision being in your living room or, somewhere where you're not, essentially. And you envision this area. We'll just use a living room, for example. So like they say, imagine you're in your living room and you look around. What do you see? This. Now imagine the walls are green. Now imagine the walls are red. And it's just an exercise to like, because a lot of people, scroll short form content. They lose a lot of their imagination. Going along with visualization is doing imagination exercises too. And I also follow this other guy. His YouTube channel is Helmer O. Locker Jr. He's a law of assumption teacher. Name's David, but his grandfather was an understudy of Neville Goddard. And so like he has this like really cool channel that teaches you about visualization, and he has these different techniques. One's called the leaf technique, essentially where you like envision yourself or visualize yourself in front of a pond or a body of water, and you visualize leaves like falling and landing in the water and just floating. And he said, if you can get to 50 leaves, like you can manifest anything, you can visualize anything, but it takes time to work up to that. And I think that is an important practice, using your imagination, because a lot of us like lose it, man. We have this short attention span. And if you can focus on present moment awareness and what you want for the future, like that's step one.
Well, when you were talking about that, I was doing that in my head. Yeah, dang it.
It's a really cool practice. And I think that like that helps you. Like, I think I put out a reel a few weeks back where I was talking about like, or maybe I didn't. All right, that's coming soon. So, you visualize like your friends congratulating you on like having 100,000 subscribers, and like, or you even do it like where you remember, you visualize your future self remembering when you got 100,000 subscribers, and it puts you in like the future tense, looking back on the past successes. That's looking back on past successes that haven't happened yet. And I think that that's a huge like way to propel yourself towards your goals too. If you can figure out like what your future self looks like, and then create a story along the way where you hit these milestones. I think that's a cool practice, and I've been wanting to try that out. I don't know. Does that sound cool?
Yeah. So I have that in my head. Yeah. I see it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just glad pieces are coming together. People are seeing it too.
Yeah, Amir. It's some process, man. We're doing the work, and that's all that matters.
And now it's a journey, and as long as we're doing it, I'm a happy person.
Yeah, man. I've been feeling great lately, honestly.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just run through the rest of the notes I have on chapter 2. Psycho-Cybernetics allows for all of the following. It allows you to conduct an accurate inventory and analysis of your own self-image, identify erroneous and restrictive programming embedded in your self-image, and systematically alter them to better suit your purposes. Use your imagination to reprogram and manage your self-image. Use your imagination in concert with your self-image to effectively communicate with your servo mechanism to act as an auto-success mechanism, including getting back on track when confronted with obstacles. And use your servo mechanism like a search engine to provide the idea, information, or solution needed for any purpose. And that's just kind of the summary of what this is all about.
Okay. So we had talked about earlier what cybernetics is, and essentially I think what this is saying, to sum it up, is like your subconscious is a machine that's programmed by how we've been conditioned, and then our conscious mind is what we are actively thinking about. And we can take our conscious mind and reprogram the machine that is our subconscious mind to let us run on autopilot on a success. What's the word I wanted before?
This is the auto success mechanism.
The auto success mechanism. So essentially, you're assessing your machine, saying what is erroneous, what is taking you towards your goal or your visualization, taking your conscious mind, reprogramming your subconscious mind in order to have the machine be beneficial for you, I think is the summary of it, if that is more in like a basic.
No, you got it. You can't just overload your mind trying to figure it all out at once.
Right.
You gotta build that auto success mechanism to where you have the self-image that believes you can do it, and then you put the systems in track to keep you moving daily.
Right.
Getting the practice in addition to the learning too.
Yeah. And then like once you get that, that embodiment of who you want to be in the future, your programming will automatically tell you that the actions you're taking are, working towards that goal or not. And that's what your emotions and your ego are for, to guide you essentially.
And that goes back to Atomic Habits.
Yeah. I mean, it's all related. For some reason, we're reading these two books. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. Two of the most important books.
Yeah. So far, man. So far, it was great. What else you got on notes, man?
So you need to aim, trust, relax, learn, and do to accomplish this. Aim, decide the target or goal for auto success mechanism should be conceived as if it is already in existence in actual or potential form. You must trust. The auto success mechanism is teleological, so it must be oriented with end results.
Right.
I didn't actually look up the definition of that word, so
that's okay.
Relax. Do not fear setbacks or temporary failures. Negative feedback is essential. Yes. Learn. Skill development of any kind is accomplished through trial and error. And then the highlighted one, do. Trust your creative mechanism. Don't get too anxious or force too much conscious effort. Let it work. Don't make it work. Let it work. All right. Well, I guess that sums up chapter 2. All right. Chapter 3, imagination, the ignition key to your auto success mechanism.
Nice. Well, for this, get us started, right?
People behave as if what they perceive themselves to be within their imagination is the truth. And so some of the examples here are the anorexic girl who still thinks they're fat.
Right.
And that you ask that same person, is someone who's 80 pounds fat? She'll say no. And so you're fat. So you're not fat. She's like, yeah, I'm fat. And she won't eat.
Right.
And so it just goes to show the extreme lengths that this can go to.
Yeah.
As that's an auto failure mechanism.
I've been there before, man. Yeah. 8th grade was rough.
Yeah. And it's something for everybody is the thing. And we're not so different. And the other example they had was a student who took his life because he didn't like his nose. And all the other peers said he was very popular, well liked. And it's just sad, but what a little bit of ridiculing and immaturity could do.
Yeah.
It's like, why? That's what all these kids that are bullying people and being so mean is why?
It's completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, it really goes back to, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. I mean, not just towards people, but just in general. Like, we don't need to spread any kind of hate.
Yeah. And it's just, there's been such a bad example set for so long, but it's a cool thing when the jock and the nerd are friends. Like it's a cool relationship,
I mean, dude, we all got something to learn from one another.
Exactly.
Like, by far. I mean, with 21 Jump Street, man. The movie 21 Jump Street, like, automatically comes to mind. We become best friends because it's like, we're together. Like, why not?
Yes,
it's fun. It makes life fun. It makes life interesting.
It's about respecting and loving each other. And unfortunately, they don't have that example. It's really, really bad.
It's getting better, I think, man. Like I know so. I see it getting better. I don't know yet. Just I think people are looking for answers, and like I think now that people are seeking answers and that the internet brings us all together, it's happening like faster. Like people are realizing all this like racism and sexism and ageism and all this stuff is like not necessary. We're all just like on a journey, figuring it out together. Let's just be supportive of one another as much as possible.
I do agree with that. There's a book that we had over there, Factfulness, at the top of the stack over there. That's what that book is about. It's about using facts about how lifespans, diseases, everything you could think of is improving. Living wages.
Yeah.
And people feel like the world is just going to shit.
Right.
It's in truth, it's never been better in some ways.
I know, man.
More opportunity for creators, for anyone to make a better life for themselves.
For sure. And I mean, I had this conversation with my mom about a year ago, and it had to do with the election and all this stuff. And I don't want to get into politics, but like she had all these things to say, and I was like, if you look at the grand scheme of everything, like we have like everybody has more rights than any time in the past. Like, and I understand there are some like things that can be improved on, obviously, but like people have more rights. I mean, women couldn't vote up until, how long ago. And it's like, in the grand scheme of like all of time, we're at the point now where we have more rights as a human. And I mean, obviously I'm just talking about like United States mostly, because like there are some other countries that could use some work as far as that goes, but I think it's getting better, and I think having the internet pointing this stuff out, it's getting out faster, and it's causing us to like be more aware what's happening in the world. You have all these like big media groups. They may have an agenda or may not or whatever, but like we have independent creators that are able to put out their own opinions, their facts, and they can be boots on the ground at certain places, and like we can actually get like actual truth. Then you throw AI into it. Who knows? Things are improving. At least I that's how I see it in my reality, and I'm gonna continue to try to observe that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree that it is getting better, but it's still really bad.
Yeah,
there are all those issues.
Yeah,
and it's just ties back into this book. The way you perceive things isn't always reality. And so if there's something that makes you different, whatever it is, if you assume that people are judging you for that before you even know for sure, that you're counting yourself out before you even have the chance. Oh, sure. Whether it's trying to get a job or a friend or just talk to your neighbor, anything like that. One thing I want to say about that is that's why it's important to be overly nice, because you get into situations where you might not mean anything by it. You just might be minding your own business and you have other problems of your own. But if you don't say hey to somebody, or you don't, acknowledge them, they might think, oh, it's because I'm so-and-so, or whatever that so-and-so is. Yeah.
For me, visualizing myself as like a positive, optimistic, like person that brings good vibes all the time, or as much as I'd like to. That's one of the things that I've been visualizing for myself. And like, as far as I know, that's what's been given to me. Like a lot of people approach me or like show me positivity. And like, I think it's one of those, like you reap what you sow type things.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. I think putting out like positive vibrations, just a general sense of joy and peace and clarity, you get that back. And like I said, I've seen that multiply in my life. And I look forward to seeing what that looks like in the near future too, man, because like it's happening a lot faster than I ever would have thought.
Yeah. Or you just gotta cultivate your own environment, because that hate that I've seen it all on Twitter. Oh, sure. I've seen it all down to killing people and everything. And it's just, that's always going to be there. That's never going to go away, but you don't have to, especially the hate that comes along with it. You don't have to let that be a part of your daily routine. First, you choose to hit the block button as soon as possible, hit the not interested button, and find yourself a community of people who are uplifting and focused on the positive aspects of life.
Choosing not to focus on the negativity. Like if something happens with a friend group and there's gossip, I don't even want to be involved, man. Just like, I want, if someone's going to tell me something about someone else, like I want to hear it right from that person, you know?
Yeah. And that doesn't mean minimizing or dismissing other people's problems. Right. It's in your circle of concern. Yeah. After circle influence.
Exactly.
You can't control any of that. And living your life unhappy because you look at it every day, not a good decision. Right. That's why people, a lot of people criticize people who watch the news every day. It's all out of your circle of influence. All the influence you have is whether you go to the poll and you vote blue or you vote red. That's all the influence you have. A lot of places, your state already has a decision made. So
yeah,
people who watch the news every day get sad and beat up. And
I know, like they
to care.
Well, they choose. I mean, it's just like social media, and it's like certain things sell more than others, and it's like you can choose to give your attention to that or not. So
they say negativity spreads 10 times more.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of bad. That's the point I was making, unfortunately. But I think as we evolve and we see like giving our attention to negativity garnishes more negativity, then we will stop doing that. We'll stop entertaining it as a collective, as a group of humans having this experience. When you go like, this negative thing makes me feel like shit, I'm not going to be this anymore. Like.
Well, I do want to put a lot of the world's problems into my circle of influence, but to do that, you got to have money. You got to have actual influence, whether it's attention or wherever that comes from. You got to be able to actually make a difference and not just talk about it. If you don't have any kind of brand and you're just talking about it, you're just another random voice on whatever platform you're on, just screaming to nobody.
Yeah, but that's where we're at, man. We got to start somewhere, and I don't necessarily want to like agree that you have to have this or have to have that. Like,
it enhances how much
you all do. Yeah, and I mean like that may be a belief that we have to investigate, because if we sit here and say like this limits us, then we're just doing the same thing anyone else would do. I'm trying to say like you never know what will come along. Someone could watch this podcast and have like, here's $100,000, do something with it. There ain't no tell.
Yeah,
there ain't no tell.
I know. I'm not saying we can't get there. What I'm saying is, for now, I need to shelve all those other things. You gotta fill your own cup before you can pour into other people's cup.
100% agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're still in the chapter 3. Imagination is the ignition key to your honest success mechanism. And this part is where they really go into the theater of the mind, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Nicklaus was one of the people who did something very similar to this. Just visualization of all of his golf shots before he did it. And he said that's how he would select his club, just by picturing the golf shot. That's pretty interesting. Nowadays they have calculators and caddies and that with their rangefinders, but he would just visualize it, to a point where you just go and do it. It's every aspect of it, how far you're gonna hit it, how high, how much spin, what kind of loft, or what kind of rollout, all those kinds of things you see in your head before you do it.
One of my favorite examples in sports is Conor McGregor talking about how he won. He's like I visualized him like throwing across, and me just like, and then he did the same thing. He shows everybody what he was gonna do, but then he did it, and then he won. And he's like, if you can visualize it here, it can happen here. And it's like that one, if you ever seen that or watched that, like that, it's crazy to me, like how cool, like that's just so cool. And I mean, I've seen that example and like Jim Carrey's example where he wrote himself a check and then like was able to cash that check because he did Dumb and Dumber. And I didn't know this until recently, but he was nominated for, I guess it was a Grammy, whatever they do for movies, Best Actor, in 2 movies that year. He did The Mask and Dumb and Dumber, and his acceptance speech was, "I refuse to believe I'm a better actor than myself." So he thanked himself for being such a great actor, and so like he won for Dumb and Dumber Best Actor, but he was also for The Mask that same year. Like he was against himself, which is like super crazy. I don't know if that's ever happened again, but he had a huge year, man. I was like 94. But he was able to cash that $10 million check or whatever after Dumb and Dumber, and it's like he just visualized himself, like he said he would go in his car and visualize himself like being the successful actor, and that, you know.
Yeah. Could you imagine how good that would feel?